and welcome to part 6 of MERN Stack Blog Project series. In today's video, we are going to see how to resolve CORS error in React. Most of time, you guys will come across CORS error while dealing with lots of API. I'll teach you how you can resolve them, as well as we will also set up the React proxy to backend by end of this particular session. But before we do that, I would urge you guys to enable both the subscribe button and the bell icon for Intellipaat YouTube channel to come across more technical updates like this. Now let's get started with today's video. So first of all, open Postman to check whatever the APIs you have created. So I have already installed Postman inside my system, and if you haven't done that, I request you to download the Postman tool so that we can check whatever the API we have written is right or wrong. Okay, whenever you will open this Postman app, you will see this add button at the top. So what you have to do, you just have to click on this add button, and if I'll just maximize the screen over here, and you can see that I have already tested lots of API over here, and my backend is already running and my front end is also running. Okay, so make sure before testing your API, your backend and front end both is working. Okay, so over here you have to give the URL. So in my case, my URL is my backend is running on server 8000 and my URL is api/auth/register. Okay, so it's not a GET request, that's why it is giving you 404 not found error. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just quickly change it to the post. If you don't really remember which kind of request you have created, in that case what you have to do, you just have to go back to your Index.js. If I'll just show you over here, in my Index.js, over here you can see this request is inside my /API/auth, and inside my auth I have two kinds of requests. One is login and one is register. Okay, so here I am registering, so it's /register. Okay, and then click on the body over here and click on the change this none to raw. Okay, and make sure this is JSON. So we are passing the data in format of JSON format, right? So we will pass the JSON data over here. So if I'll just show you the example, I recently tested this particular API. If I'll just copy this particular part and if I'll just paste it over here, this is how you pass the JSON data, right? We write in an object form. Okay, so the inside double inverted comma, whatever the object you are passing, make sure these names are same. See, this is username, so here it is username. And make sure the sequence is also similar to whatever you have written inside your your router. Okay, so first of all we passed our username, then email address, and then password. So I have taken the same sequence. So I have already registered this particular user. So what I'll just do, I'll just quickly change this as test1, and I'll keep the password as it is. Okay, and if I'll just click on the send button over here, you can see this is coming as OK 200, which means the success, and you can see all the data over here. And if I'll just show you on my MongoDB, in my MongoDB compass, you can see this particular data. And one thing, if you have noticed over here, if I'll just show you over here, it has already generated ID for us. It also hashed our password. You can see I have given password is 123456, but over here it is not giving me 123456. It is showing some random values with the key we have just passed with to it. Okay, and you can see the time of creation and time of updation. Why we have took the time of updation? Because whenever we will be updating the profile, we want to save that particular timestamp as well. So if I'll just move to my MongoDB over here, and this was the blog website if I'm not wrong. So if I'll just double click, it will connect me. Now inside my users, you can see this which we have just created. This is test1@gmail.com, and this is the password and the creation date and the updation time. Okay, so you can see that our APIs are working just fine. Now I guess we are completed with our backend. Now what we have to do, we just have to work on our front end part. Okay, so let's quickly move to our front end part. I'm just closing this Postman as of now because I don't need it. I'm maximizing my VS Code, and I'm just minimizing my terminal. You can see my front end and back end both is running over here. And let me just quickly close all of these tabs. I'll just click on close all. Let's move to our home page first, and let's see the navigation bar which we have created is working or not. Okay, so inside my home screen, before just adding this navigation bar, let me show you the output first. Okay, so over here, this was our output when we didn't. Just a minute. So this was the output which we were getting before we have implemented our nav bar. Now what you have to do, you just have to import your nav bar, and over here you just have to write nav bar slash, and over here you can see your nav bar is working just fine. Your nav bar is looking perfect, and I don't think any changes are required in the navigation bar, but if you like to make any kind of changes over here, you can do it. Okay, over here you can see login and register. If I'll just show you the responsive version of your particular nav bar, because we have already imported our menu bar inside this also, right? So if I'll just minimize this a little, you can see inside my phone it will look something like this, and over here you can see this small login and sign up thing whenever you are opening your menu over here. Okay, so I'm just closing this as of now, and this is looking perfect. So now what we will do, we will create one file, and inside that particular file we will store our URLs. So what kind of URL we are talking about over here? So let's say the backend URL. So we will be connecting our application to backend again and again. So I don't want to write a HTTP localhost 8000 again and again. So for that, what I'll do, I'll create a separate file, and inside that file I'll store all the URLs inside it. Okay, so I'm opening my VS Code, and inside my front end folder only, what I'll do, I'll just close this particular folders first. So inside my src folder, I'm creating one more file over here, and the file name is url.js. so this file basically contains all the URL. Okay, okay, so it has created a url.js file for me. Now over here what I'll do, I'll write export constant, and one variable name is URL, which will contain the basically the URL for my backend application. So let's say http colon localhost. This is the port where my backend is running, so I'll give that particular same backend link over here. So if your backend is running on port 5000 or port 8080, then don't forget to change this accordingly. Okay, and over here we will also create one more variable. Now you will ask me for what we are creating another variable. So we are creating this another variable to store the link for my images folder. So as we have created a images empty folder inside my backend, now I want to access that particular images in my front end as well, right? So for that, my URL will be changed. Why? It will have the folder, one folder inside my port 8080, that will be images, and inside the images we will be getting the particular images. So for that, I have to also store that particular path of the images folder so that I can access that in my front end. So for that, I'm creating this particular variable. I'm copying this localhost 8000 and slash images slash. Okay, now why the slash? We also have to move inside that particular folder because images will be inside that particular folder. I hope this part is clear to you. Now I'm just saving this particular file and I'm just closing this. Okay, now we also have to set up the proxy. Why we are setting up the proxy? Because sometimes you will face a CORS error. So when I was creating this particular project, or I was facing the CORS error, that's not because my logics were wrong or something like that, but it was because there are some issues with the CORS. Whenever we are using CORS and AXIOS together, you can also use fetch as well, but I'm making use of the AXIOS. So in my case, I was getting a CORS error, maybe some because of my system configuration or something like that. But you can skip this part as well. If you're not getting the CORS error, you don't need to set this proxy up. Okay, I'll just quickly show you how to set up your proxy. Okay, so over here I'll just create one more file which I have already created, named as setup proxy.js. So inside my setup proxy, I have this create proxy middleware. Okay, so I also have to install this particular create proxy middleware. Okay, from here, HTTP proxy middleware. So if I'll just show you on over here, if you will go to your npm website and search for HTTP proxy middleware, then you will find this and you will see how this works, and you can directly copy paste this particular code and your proxy error will be gone. Okay, so if I'll just copy this particular path, and if I move to my front-end folder, and if I'll just paste this part, it will take a minute to download. Okay, and meanwhile I'll explain you what code I have written. So what I did, I imported create proxy middleware from my HTTP proxy middleware, and over here I'm exporting this particular module, and I have taken root inside my function. Why the root? Because our application starts running from the root. Now what I said over here, root.use, I'm forcing my root to use /API. API is my endpoint, which you have seen inside my backend, that I have created /API/auth/API/users, like that. So here I have taken /API. Then inside my create proxy middleware, I'm saying that my target is 8000 because my backend is running on 8000. Then change of origin I'm making as true. I'm making secure as false because I don't want HTTPS to request on this particular server. Okay, then inside my headers, what I'll be doing, I'll be accessing my localhost 3000 where my backend is running to get the data from localhost 8000. Why I'm making this connection to 3000 to 8000 is because I want the data transfer between them. Okay, so if you are not getting this particular error, this doesn't happen every time, but sometimes it does, and you might have to rethink on your logics, and maybe you have to recreate your particular application. It sometimes goes away if you just simply create a same code again. While writing the same code again, this error might go away as well. But here what I have done to take up precautions that I don't get any CORS errors, so that's why I have created, or you can say I have set this proxy up. Okay, you can skip this part as well. If you're not getting error, you don't need to set up this particular proxy. Okay, so we are done with our proxy. Now inside my home, I have already shown you the navigation bar which we have created. Right now, let's quickly move and let's complete with our register and sign up page. Okay, so inside my pages, I have my login and my register page. Okay, so if I'll just show you over here, this much we have already done. Right, so we have created this component and we had make use of this particular component when we were writing inside our app.js, or we were creating our navigation bar. Okay, now what we have to do, I'm just removing this register over here like this. Now we will set up our register. So for that, first of all, inside my register, what kind of data I want. First of all, I need username, then I need password, then there can be an error, and I want to navigate if my registration is successful. Right, so what I'll do, first of all, I'll create one variable, and inside that I'll take some states. So basically when we are creating our register, so we make use of our useState hook. Okay, so first of all, I'm creating one variable, or you can say useState for my username. So let's say username comma set username name is equal to useState. You can say my useState is auto importing at the top. In your case, if it doesn't, then import manually. Okay, now this is for my username. Similarly, I have for my email, so I'm just changing my name over here to email. and this is set email, like this, and my set email will also be the string, and then will be password, like this, then set password, and password will also be the string. Now const, then we will have one error, comma set error, and initially there can be two possibilities, whether there is error or there is no error. So initially I'm keeping my error as false because I don't want any error message at the beginning, because we won't be having any error at the beginning. If we have the error, we will toggle this particular button and we will show some toast or something like that to, make sure that the user knows that there is some error. Now we will also make use of a navigate is equal to use navigate. And one more thing, when we created our this menu.js, over here it will not be use navigation, it will be use navigate. Okay, so over here and as well as on our nav bar, over here it will be use navigate, not navigation. So make sure that, otherwise you might get error. And also make sure you enclose this particular thing inside your curly braces, okay, because in last video I might have missed that. Now after our use navigate, this will be in function form. Okay, all right, now we have all of this things with us. Now what we have to do, we will create one button. So on click of that particular button, we will try to send this particular data to our backend. So for that I'm creating one button over here. Let's say const handle register, like this, is equal to async function. I'm using arrow function over here. You can use normal function as well, but I prefer using arrow functions. Okay, now as we are sending this particular data to the backend, obviously there are going to be some there are chances to get some errors, right? So for that we will be creating try and catch blocks again. So we will write try and then we'll write catch, and inside this we will catch our error, like this. Let's make this error, okay, so that we don't get confusion between this error and this error. Okay, set error, fine. Now starting with the try block, we will create one const as res is equal to await AXIOS dot, the type of request it is a post request, so post, and inside this we will pass the URL we will be getting from that particular file which we have just created. So for that, write URL over here, and let's import that particular URL as well. So I'm writing here import URL from // URL from here. Okay, URL plus we also have to write /API /register /auth /register, sorry, /register, and done over here. Now after this we will take this particular data and we will pass this particular data in the sequence. So let's say username, comma email, comma password. Now we get this data. Make sure you manage this particular sequence over here. Now what we will do, we will set the particular data, let's say set username, like this, and we get the response dot data dot username like this. Then similarly we will do for our email, and inside that we will write response.data.email like this. Then we will set the password, and similarly we will pass the same password. So right now you can see that we have passed the same password, but whenever we are passing this particular data to our backend, there we are hashing this particular password, so we don't need to do any other functionalities in our front end part. Okay, then we will set error as false because this data is already set, and we will navigate to login. So let's say slash login like this. Now let's say in case there are some errors, so what we will do, we will set error as true, and we will also console that particular error. So let's say console.log error. Okay, like this. So we have took all our data, and why this error is okay, I guess this is fine. Okay, now what we will do, we will move inside our divs and we will start creating our front end. Okay, now if you have noticed our login page, there we had this similar kind of theme for both the login and register. So we will do the same over here. We will create one div over here like this, and we will give this div some class names. So let's start by giving some class names. We will make the display flex, item center like this, justify between. We will give pixel 8 as 6, and for medium screen my MD PX, sorry, for my medium screen my PX will be 200 pixel like this. Then my PY will be 4. So this is the data which I liked better. So if you want to make little changes here and there, you can do that. Okay, then we will create one h1 over here like this. We are using Tailwind, so it doesn't matter whether we are using HTML or whether we are using h1 or not. It will consider as a div only. So still, to just make sure that I'm writing a heading, that's why I have took this h1. You can take normal span tag or div tag as well. Okay, now inside my class I'll write text as LG. I want my text is large. For my medium screen, my text will be Excel. Then font will be extra bold. So this is my main heading which says Blocksphere. So let's do that. Here I'm giving a link tag like this, and okay, link is imported. Okay, in your case, if the link is not imported, please import it. Okay, so whenever our registration is successful, we will redirect it to our home page. So for home page we use slash, if you remember, so that's why we are keeping slash over here. And inside the link tag you can give whatever the text you want to give. So this basically link tag is inside my h1 tag. So this is something, if you see the logo and click off that particular logo, the page gets reloaded, right? So for that we are making this particular thing. Okay, so basically what happens is whenever we click the company's logo, it redirects us to the home page of that particular website, right? So for that I'm creating this particular link, and inside this I'm writing blogosphere. Sphere like this. Now this was my h1 tag. Now there will be one more link which says that login. So for that I will also create one more h3, let's say, and inside this I'll create one more link, and this link will redirect you to login page. So over here I'm again creating a link like this, and this link will redirect you to my slash login page. Okay, and between this I'll also write login, and I don't need to give any styling to this particular part. Okay, now outside this div I'll create one more div like this, and inside this div we will create our particular form. Okay, so let's start by creating giving this div class name. So let's say class name, and before giving this a class names, I'm just closing my terminal because I don't need it anymore. And over here, we will start by giving some stylings over here. Okay, so let's say, let's first of all make our width is equal to full, display as flex, justify content center, item center, and let's fix the height as well. So here I'm taking 80 VH means viewport height. Okay, so similarly you can use VW, which is viewport width. Okay, so this basically exists according to your particular screen size. Okay, so that's why we use VH to make it more responsive. We also can use REM, but REM is mostly difficult to control it. Okay, so now let's move ahead and create one more div over here, and inside this div as well I'm giving some stylings. First of all, making this as flex call, and justify center, item center. Now there will be some spacing, so let's say space y as 4, and width of this particular div, this is basically the container in which we will be putting our form. Okay, so width of this particular container will be 80%, and for my medium devices my width will be 25%. Okay, so once we will check the output, you will get the idea why we are taking this particular values, and if you want to increase or decrease the size, you can do it. Now again I'm taking one h1 over here, and I'm giving some classes to this particular h1, starting with the text. So let's say text is equal to XL, so that it will look little bigger. Font will be bold because this is my heading saying that the create account. Okay, and text will be, let's keep it left over here, and here we will give create an account like this. Now after this we will give one input tag. So we are creating a form now, so this is our input tag over here, and on change of this particular input tag, we will pass this value to our set user. Okay, so we have created this variable, right? Now what we have to do, we just have to set the values over here. So let's do that. Now on change of this particular input tag, we will pass the data to our let's say first we have our set email, or let's keep set username first. Okay, so let's say on change over here, on change, what we will do, we will create one arrow function which takes this e element, and we will pass this data like this to set user name like this, and inside that e.target dot value. Okay, so here basically this e is the data we are getting, and this represents the e, and e.target value means whatever the value inside this particular input tag is the target value. Okay, so we will pass that particular, we will give this function that particular data, and we will inside our set username, we will say that whatever the value that e contains dot target value, whatever the value inside that particular e element, we will give that to our particular set username. And similarly we will do for our password, for email address and everything. Okay, so I hope this part is clear to you. Now we will also give some class names over here. So I'll just write class name like this, and over here we will make width as full, and px4 py2, and you can change these values. Okay, we will also give some border black and outline 0, and type is equal to text, and this type text will be outside of our particular class name, so this will be over here. This is the properties of our input tag. Okay, now we will also give some placeholder, and this placeholder will say enter your name, and this will be our first input tag. Okay, now I'm not creating labels over here. If you like, you can create labels as well. Okay, but I think just the input tags will look great, and the demo which we have seen for our particular blog website had only input tags. So I'm just copying this particular part down like this over here. I'm pasting it over here. Okay, and over here I'll change this as a password first. Okay, password, and here I'll change this as a password. The type will be password2 password, and I guess before password we should take the email address, so I'm just shifting this as down. Okay, so the shortcut to shift this down is Control Shift and down arrow key, or you can use up arrow key to move it upwards. Okay, so if you just select this particular part and if you just move like this, you can change this location. Okay, now I'm keeping password as at the end, and over here I'm making this as an email like this, and over here I'll also say type is equal to email, and here we will give enter your email like this. Okay, so I guess this is completed and we don't need to change anything over here. So we will move ahead and create a button. So on click of that particular button, we will call our handle register. So we have created this handle, right? And this what this handle does is this pass our particular data to our particular endpoint. Okay, so we are making use of our API auth register. So we are passing this data to our register auth. Okay, now let's create a button over here. So let's say button like this, and over here we will just write register like this, and over here first of all on click of this particular button we will have our handle register. Now let's give some class names over here. Let's make width is equal to full, px is equal to 4, py is equal to 4, also text is equal to lg like this, and font will be bold. Then we will have text as white, and background of this particular button will be black, so this will be bg black. Then our button will also be rounded, so I'm making it rounded lg. You can use any other values as well, however you like it. Okay, hover, I'm keeping hover class also, so on hovering that particular button the background will be changed, nothing else will be changed, just the background and our particular text. Okay, so let's make it bg gray. Let's keep this 500. Okay, I guess 500 is fine. And on hover I also want my text to change to black, so let's make this as black. Okay, now so this button will have my handle register. So on click of this particular button my data will be sent to my backend. So one more thing I have to do, if you remember, we have created our error, right? So over here let's say we are not able to send our data to our backend. In that case, what we will do, we will also give some messages saying that there are some error occurred, you are not successfully logged in, and something like that. Okay, so let's say if we already have the account, we will say already have an account also. Okay, and if there is some error, so we will give text as something went wrong. And if the account is successfully created, we will say your account is successfully created. Okay, so let's do that. So first of all, I'm checking whether I have the error or not. So for that, I'm using a ternary operator, and for that, to write any conditional operation, so for that we use this curly braces, and inside this curly braces we write our code. So let's say error. So this basically returns true or false, right? And why we are using AND operation over here? Because if my error is true, and if my this part is in that case, this part will be displayed over here. Okay, so let's say h3 class name. Over here I'll be just returning that there is some error in your whenever you are trying to log in, there was some error. Okay, so let's just say text red, let's keep it 500, and text will be small. Now we will give the text over here, and over here we will say something went wrong, like this. Now we can also give the success message, but I guess whenever we will be successfully logging to our account, in that case we will automatically redirect to our home page, so there won't be any time to show that particular message. You can do that by using toast, but for this project I'm not making use of any kind of toast. Okay, so if you like, you can also download the npmi toastify react in your this particular project, and give particular toast, okay, according to your errors. Or whenever the account created successfully, you can show a green color toast. If the account is not created, you can also say something went wrong, something like that. Okay, you can make use of your toast over here as well. Now let's create one more div over here. Now why we are creating this particular div? In this div we will give the path to our login page. Why we are doing this? Because if I already have the account and by mistake I have clicked on register, in that case I want to move to my login page as well. So it is very basic common sense thing, and we generally see this part on any general website we visit. Okay, so let's say class name over here, and let's first start by making our displays flex justify center item center, like this, and space x3, like this. Now let's make the p tag over here, saying that already have an account question mark, and over here I'm creating one more p tag. Inside this I'll just say login, and this tag will also have my link. Okay, so let's create a link over here, and I'm just keeping this between my link. Okay, and this link will redirect us to our login page. So my login endpoint was /login, and if you don't remember this, you can move to your app.js. Where is my app.js? I'll show you. See, over here I have said /login for the login, /register for register. Okay, so use this particular points only. Okay, so I'll move back to my register, and over here I'll write some class names. So let's say class name, and first of all I'll make my text as gray, 500. Over will have text as black. Fine. And I also want my footer over here at the end. So I'm also rendering my footer over here. I'll import it later. Footer like this, and we will import a footer over here. So let's say import, and I guess my footer is inside my components. Okay, footer from dot component / footer. Okay, we also have to create a footer. So let's first complete with our register and login page, and then we will create a footer. Okay, so let's move on to our login page. So as I have mentioned, login and register page won't be much different. So I'm just copying this particular part from my registered page, and let's say I'm just copying all the headers first and pasting that to my login page over here like this, over here, and I'm removing this import because React is already imported over here. And also I'm taking this particular part, this whole thing, the function and everything. Okay, so I'm taking this particular part and I'm pasting that over here before my return statement. Okay, all right, and after that I'm also copying this particular div and pasting that over here. I'm just removing this particular part and I'm pasting that over here. Okay, so we have done our copy pasting, but there are few things we need to change. First of all, let's talk about all the functions and everything. Okay, so this part is going to be the same, but there will be one more thing over here, that is our user. So whenever we are logging into our website, we also want our user profile over there, right? So whenever we were registering, we will directly set our user profile, but when we are logging, we have to set that particular user profile which matches the whatever the user logged into our particular website. So for that, let's say const over here, let's say set user user like this, and this set user is equal to use context from React, and inside that we will use user context. So if you remember, in our first or second video, we have created our user context file, right? I'll show you that particular file. Inside my contacts, I have this user context. Okay, so this particular file we will be using inside our login to set the user. So my U will be capital over here. Okay. Couldn't find user contact. Okay, you cannot find because I haven't imported it. So let's say user context. So and contacts from context / user. All right. You can see this error is gone now. Now here, if you have seen, we have created one object, empty object, and inside that we have created a variable named as set user. Okay, so now we will work on this particular part. First of all, I am changing my handle register to handle login because this is login page, and this operation will be same. And over here we have to change few things. Okay, so first of all, inside my try block, we will be fetching the data because we already have this particular data and we don't have to send this data to our backend, right? So for that, we will be fetching the data from our backend. So over here, this operation won't be happening. There will be something else. So here I'm just keeping this as it is, but okay, let's just write this again. Okay, so I'm just removing everything from my try block. Make sure you do this exactly as I do, or else you might get an error over here because we have copy pasted the code from our register page. So over here, let's create one constant as arrays, and we will await this call and we will fetch the data. From where we can get this data? We can get this data from our API / auth. Inside my auth, I had my login for fetching this particular data, right? So like this, you can fetch the data, and we also have to mention the method. The method will be post, and there has to be some headers when we are trying to get that data from particular backend file. So we will mention some header. So we will say that content type is equal to application/json. Okay, so this is returning the data type. So our particular data which we are getting back from our this particular API, or the data we are sending to this particular API, is in the form of a JSON. Okay, and credentials, we will include the credentials. Okay, so I'll just write include over here. So you can omit this credentials. Credentials is basically that token which is getting generated, and the password we are passing to this particular user. So we also have to pass that particular credentials. So that's why I'm writing credentials as included. Or else what you can do, there is one more way to do this particular task. You can always use AXIOS. I'm for this one I'm using fetch over here, and you can use AXIOS as well. So whenever you are using the AXIOS part, that will be similar to our register page. But just to show you guys how fetch works, I'm using this particular part. Okay, I'm using fetch over here. Now after that, we will also write body. Inside body, we will pass JSON dot stringify, and inside this we will have our email colon as email, comma, password as a password, and this will be in object formation. So like this. Okay, password colon password, right? Now let's try to handle this particular errors over here as well. Now let's say if our response is okay, in that case what we want to do, we want to set this particular data, and we want to set this particular data inside our keys as well, right? So for that I'm writing this particular condition. So let's say if response returns okay. So when the response returns okay, when my URL call is successful, or you can say my fetch function worked properly. So over there, what we will do, we will create one constant. Let's say data is equal to await response dot JSON. So this function basically extract the JSON data. Now we will create a cookie. So let's say constant cookies is equal to res dot header dot get, and inside this we will say set cookie. Cookie like this. Now let's also console our data and cookie. So let's say data colon comma data like this, and let's also console dot one cookies tab comma. Now if this much is successful, in that case what we will do, we will set the user the this is a variable which we have just created, object variable, as a data. So this data basically returns everything, every information about our user. Okay, so we are setting that particular data as set user. Now we will write one else condition over here, and we will console the error. So let's say console dot error. So this data will be in yellow color, and this, if we get the error, it will be in the red color inside our console. Okay, so over here we will write request failed with status status comma res dot status, like this. So what res dot status return, if you remember, we used to set the response dot error as 400 300, right? So that particular status will be returned over here. Let's say if the user is not found, in that case there will be 404 error. If the request was failed, in that case there will be 500 error, right? So like that. So it will return you based on your request. Now if the login is successful, we also have to navigate, right? So outside this else block I'm writing navigate. Where to navigate? We have to navigate to home page, because we have already successfully logged in, and in case we get any error, the statement will remain same. So I'm keeping this as it is. Over here we will write register instead of login. So let's just change this endpoint as register, like this, and over here I'm also writing this as register and let's check if we need to change anything else or not. And let's keep this as login to your account, or okay, we can keep that. Let's say login to your account, like this. Now we will remove this username from here. We will just keep our set email and set password. Okay. Now on click of this particular button, there will be handle login, not register, because we removed this. So let's say handle login, and over here, instead of saying already have an account, we will say new here. Okay, you can change this lines according to your needs. Okay, here like this, and this will redirect you to the register page. Register, and we will also write register over here. Register, like this. And our login page is also done. Now let's try to check this particular part whether it's running or not. Okay. Now let's open our terminal. So I'm opening a new terminal over here, and inside my this terminal, if you see, I already have my front end open. So let's say npm run start, and let's also run our backend as well. Backend npm run start, and let's move to our output. Getting loaded. Let's wait. Okay, our backend is running fine, and over here you can see this error saying that the URL is imported, not found in. Okay, so over here the error is I forgot to mention this curly braces over here, so just mention this curly braces like this, and this error will be gone. And over here you can see in the warning you can see that username is defined but never used. So inside my login we haven't taken any username, right? So I'm just removing this particular part from here. You can see this is successfully compiled, and let's move to the output and let's look at our login page. Okay, you can see I have make mistake in my URL, so I'll just move to my home page app.js, and over here okay, not in my home page, I have made mistake in my nav bar. So if I'll just go to my navigation bar and let's look for our login. Over here you can see there are no endpoints like that. So let's move. I have just corrected this as login, and let's move back once and let's click on login. So here you can see you have this perfect looking login page, and let's try to log in using our existing account we have created. So we had this account as test@gmail.com, and I also have the password for that as 123456, and let's click on register. So you can see we have redirected to our long home page. Now one more thing we have to do over here is, if you look at this login page, this button says register, but we don't want register, right? We want it to show as login. So I'm just changing this particular part inside my login page. Over here, if I'll just move little down over here, it will just say not this one, this one, this button would say login. Now let's move back. Now it's beautiful, like it's perfect. So if I'll just click on this register, I'll be moving to my register page, and if I'll click on to login, I'll move to my login page. So this is working just fine. My backend is also working with this. Okay, now you see this this is just a tiny footer written over here. We don't want that, right? We want it to look like the actual footer we have shown whenever we were creating this particular demo. And if you noticed over here there are no nav bar. Over here is just logo of our application and the login option, or you can say register option if you are in a login page. So now let's just create this particular footer. Now let's quickly close all of this and open our footer. So we are inside our footer, and over here inside this particular div, I'm creating one more div like this, and let's start by giving some class names over here. Okay, class name like this, and let's say empty8. Then width will be full. Background, let's keep it black like this. Px as 8, and md colon px for my medium screen. My px will be 300 pixel. So this is what fits best in my screen. So if you would like to change this, you can change this accordingly. Okay, and for my medium screen, I'm making my flex as row, otherwise my flex will be column. Okay, so why I'm making this, because in my small screen, if my footer is like this, it won't be visible, right? My text will be very small in that case. But if my footer is like this, there is like proper font size and everything will be working in that. So that's why I'm making flex as row in medium screen and flex as column in my regular screen. Now let's say space y as 6, and my medium screen will have space y as 0, because otherwise the footer will be very big, right? So I don't want that either. And why I'm writing this over here, this will be over here. Okay, now let's also make our items as start like this, and let's also make our medium as justify between, and text will be small, and for my medium text will be medium, and y will be 8 like this. Now this is my basic outline of my particular footer. Now we will start by writing everything inside my particular footer. So I'm creating one more div to keep all the things together, and over here let's give some class name. So let's say class name, let's make this place flex all, and text as white. Let's make one p over here, and let's say featured blogs. You can if you want, you can give links over here, but I'm not giving any kind of links over here. Okay, most viewed like this, and also let's just make reader's choice as well. So I'm just randomly writing anything inside my footer. If you want, you can change this text as well. And why my other p tags are not visible over here? Okay, sorry for that. I'll just write this over again. Yeah, reader's choice like this. Okay, now similarly we will do for our other tags as well. So I'm just copying this particular div 3 times so that I have like many more items to put in my footer. So I'll just keep this like this. So if I'll just show you the output right now, you can see this is my particular footer right now, but we will change this part and we will change this part. Okay, and I guess there are some less spacing over here. We will fix that as well. So first of all, let's do that. Okay, so generally I'll have a space as 6 and then my space will be 0, right? Let's just keep it side by side over here. So if you see in my medium screen, it is like this, and for my medium screen justified content will be let's make it center, I guess. Okay, no change. If I just reduce my screen size a bit, okay, it's a bit in between only. So let's fix that. Let's try to fix that. Just remove this part then. Okay, no. All right. Okay, so let's also, I messed this up a little. I'm just making it control Z over here and let's say 6. Okay, I guess as of now this is fine. We will make necessary changes later. So over here I have also made my py as 10 because I felt that this gap is very less. Okay, you can adjust these things accordingly. Now let's move ahead and change this particular text over here, and we will also give one all right reserves trademark also. Okay, so over here let's change this div over here. Inside this particular p tag I'll write forum, or let's also give support like this, and also let's make this as recent like this, recent post, and over here let's say privacy policy, and okay, let's say privacy policy, policy like this. Then we also have about us. Then we'll write over here terms and conditions. Okay. Now after this particular div, what I'll be doing, let's create one p tag over here. So here I'm creating p tag, and inside this p tag, let's first start by giving some class names over here. And why this p is removed? Okay, sorry. Okay, now over here let's start by giving some class name. So let's say class name like this, and let's start by giving some class names as py as 2, pb as 6, and text will be in the center like this. Text will be white in color. Text will be white, background will remain black like this, and text font will be small like this. Now inside this particular p tag, we will write all rights reserved at the rate Intellipaat 2024 like this. So over here you can see this all rights reserved tag. All right, now let's also try to make this text as in center. So let's just say text center like this. Let's see if anything changed or not. No, I don't want the alignment to be in center. I just want my whole thing to be in center. Okay. Okay. So if I'll just say for my, I'm just removing this part. I don't know why there is some issue with our Tailwind. You see, I'm just removing the medium screen and it is changing in my big screen, and I'm mentioning the small screen as center, so it's giving my small screen and justify between or justify start. I don't know what's wrong with this, but as of now, let's not waste our time on this, and let's move ahead. So in this video, we have completed our login page, our register page, and our footer part. Okay, so in next video we will be creating another amazing components. So make sure you subscribe to Intellipaat YouTube channel and keep creating this particular project alongside with me, and I'll see you guys in next one. Just a quick info, guys. Intellipaat offers a full stack developer course which enable you to learn tech stack from both front-end and back-end. Through this course, you will gain hands-on experience with the skills and technologies such as SQL, Java, data structure, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, Node.js, and React under the guidance of industrial professionals. With this course, we have already helped thousands of professionals in successful career transition. You can check out the testimonial on our AXIOS channel, whose link is given in the description below. Without a doubt, this course can set your careers to new heights. So visit the course page link given in the description and take the first step towards the career growth with the full stack developer course.